Bob McKinley. His birthday is August 8th, 1930. He served in the Korean War. The military service branch he served in was the Navy. Highest rank he earned is first class personnel. Currently resides in Haines City, Florida. The interviewer is Tyler Seymour. I know this veteran due to a long friendship with families. This interview is being conducted for the Veterans History Project at the Library of Congress.
I was born in Winnemucca, Indiana, August 8, 1930. High school.
High school. Okay.
Yeah, when I was in high school, and a couple of my buddies and I joined the Naval Reserves. We had a reserve station in my hometown then in Kenosha, Wisconsin. We had a program called UMT, Universal Military Training. At that time, an 18-year-old had the option of going into the military, into whatever military, for 1 year. At the end of that time, you'd be discharged, and you would have a 3-year reserve obligation. And that's why I went in for 1 year. I just wanted to test the waters, see if I liked it. I took my basic training at Great Lakes, which unfortunately was only about 30 miles from my home. And I could see this train going by on the railroad track past the naval station, up past my home. And it kind of made me homesick, but I'd never been away from home before. I went to Newport, Rhode Island. I was waiting for my ship there. It was the USS Worcester's light cruiser, CL-144. We spent most of our time doing wartime maneuvers, and this was before the Korean bit. And this was 1950, I guess it was, 49 to 50. And we would spend a lot of time in the Caribbean, in that area, on maneuvers with other countries and other ships from our Navy. And one time I remember we were right next to the Missouri, which is a battle wagon. It's a battle wagon that MacArthur signed the surrender with the Japanese officials after the Second World War. And this was, 6 years after he signed it. And I remember one time I was on deck and the Missouri let go with the 16 inchers. She was probably a couple of miles away from us, but I could feel that pressure of that blast against my body, you know, probably 2 or 3 miles away. It was something else. Another time I came up on deck and we'd been having maneuvers and they'd been firing guns. At one time I was on a 40 millimeter. And this one time I came up on deck, and before a gun fired, we had 8 inchers. And those 8-incher shells were probably about 36, 40 inches long, probably about this big around. And before they fired, they had a signal going ding, 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 let anyone around know they're going to fire. You either had to cover your ears or open your mouth to equalize the pressure. It didn't go ding, 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 and I lost my eardrums when I was right under it. I was discharged from the military then after my 1-year service, and 49 to 50. Went home and went to work for my dad a number of months, and the Korean War started. And having a 3-year obligation, reserve obligation for my previous enlistment, I got a call to come back into active duty. I was sent to Green Cove Springs, Florida, which was right next to St. Augustine. Went up the St. Johns River, went out to the ocean, and we're heading north to go to Norfolk Naval Shipyard. And we unfortunately ran into a hurricane off Cape Hatteras. And almost the entire crew was reserved, including the captain. And most of them had never seen the ocean before. And we hit this hurricane, and it was rough. And it was so rough that the wave would come up and catch the bow and drop out from under the bow, and the stern would come up in the air, and it had a governor on it, so the screws would turn just so fast, and then it would shut down. So we would be without any power. So they'd have to start the engines again. Well, after this went on for a while, the engines just went out. No, the radar, the rudder wouldn't function. They couldn't get the rudder to function. Well, at that time we had a seaman on the helm anyway that had chronic seasickness, and he had a bucket hanging from the front of the helm. but the power went completely out on our rudder. And, you know, we're in the middle of a hurricane, going in circles like this wherever it wanted to push us. And that was pretty scary because most of those guys had no idea what they were doing out there. Never had to. Oh, when I got back from Thule, Greenland, I was so hungry for some decent food that I went in a restaurant, and in all honesty, I ordered a glass of milk, a glass of tomato juice, 1 dozen eggs, and a ham steak, and 2 slices of toast. And I ate the whole thing. The waitress even came over and sat down. She said, "I got to see this." And I still eat like that. I weigh what I did in high school. I never gained any weight.